That book really changed my life. It's a book about realizing the value of experiences versus objects, and using your money while you're young enough to enjoy it. And that's the lesson that he brings to bear in that book. It's not a book for everybody. You kind of have to have two brain cells to rub together and have a little bit of self-awareness to get the most out of the book. It's targeted mostly people who are sort of fairly well off, maybe in their 50s, like me. And we're really just coasting to retirement at 65 and hadn't really thought it through. Like, what am I going to do with that money? When is enough? And especially in America, when we get 2 weeks holiday, or 2 or 3 weeks if you're lucky, how much time do you have to have these experiences? So the main messages in this book, which I'll open up my notes here so I don't forget, get them in the right order, is his principles align perfectly with the concept of financial independence, retire early. It's not done in that kind of slick way for 30-somethings or 40-somethings. It's more about people that are doing well and probably have too much money or plan to save too much money for retirement. And his concept, Bill's concept, is 3 zones of life. Go when you're young and fit, or at least as fit as you're going to be. Your slow go when you're slowing down. Maybe you don't want to, or don't have as much interest in some of the things you used to. And third one is the no-go, when you might want to just be on the couch, or at least stay close to home. So he brings those principles to life with examples, and basically reminds us that we're not going to live forever, and we're not going to be in the same shape or have the same mental acuity or even the same interests in 10, 20, 30 years as they do right now. So you might as well develop those experiences while you're still young enough to enjoy them fully. So timing out what you want to do on your bucket list or whatever in your life, timing it out is important. And he does a great job of that. He's very analytical. He was an engineer by training. He's done well for himself, but this book is targeted at people that were like me. They're working and not really sure when they feel comfortable stopping working. The risk being that you've spent 7 years in a job to generate money that you're probably not going to spend. Another topic that Bill talked about is legacy. Now, when people say legacy, it usually means you have a will, and when you die, a certain amount of money goes to your kids or your family, and that's your legacy. And his basic philosophy about timing is, well, why would you want to do that? Why don't you just give them the money while you're still alive, so you can see them enjoy the money? And secondly, they need it more when they're young, so they benefit as well when you give it to them when they're young enough to spend on the steer. They said, well, what if I run out of money? And Bill's point was, well, there's insurance for that, and there's investments for that. If you think you're smart enough and you want to set aside a fund for your end of life so that you guarantee in your own mind that you're never going to run out of money, he says, you're not an insurance expert. You don't know if you're going to live longer than you're expected to. Maybe you will. So you got to plan for that and have the way to generate income if you do happen to live longer than the actuarial tables tell you. Fear of dying with no money is not a reason to keep working for much longer than you really need to. And the other message I got from Bill's book was the importance of health. Now, obviously, it goes without saying, but health is priceless. And as I mentioned in one of my other videos, since coming to Thailand, I feel a little porky and a little sluggish. So I've got to do something about that. And if you have bad habits, then obviously you're going to cut back on those if you can to give yourself more years to play with. And so I thought that was really important. And one of the benefits of here in Thailand is where I am right now, is that I don't have to pay $2,000+ a month for health insurance that doesn't even cover all the costs. That's what I would have to be paying right now in the United States for a plan. And it doesn't even cover all the costs. You have something we call co-payments and out-of-pocket expenses. So it's kind of a joke, but that's another benefit of being retired abroad in a low-cost country. And a part of the big reduction in cost is healthcare cost. I do encourage people that watch this channel to check out that book. As I said, it's a pretty hefty book, about 250 pages. I read it before I retired. It really gave me a kick in the behind and basically said, what are you waiting for? Now is the time. And I just reread it, or I re-skimmed it, and it inspired me to make this video. And another benefit of reading that kind of book is if you have a plan to retire before your friends, and they say, what are you, crazy? You haven't thought it through. Look at the risks. You should be like us and keep working till much later. Just get a few points out of Bill's book. And that will shut them right down, because he's completely rational. There's no emotion in there. There's no religion in there. There's no chastising or patronizing language. It's a very adult book, and I highly encourage my watchers to read Bill's book, Die with Zero. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.